Okay, we're at the front of the boat now. We're actually in spot lock, and you can see there's obviously a lot of trees and timber around. We can see very clearly what's going on the surface, but what we can't see is what's going on underneath, and that's where 360 comes into it. And 360 is going to show us everything that's going on, any snags, laydowns that we can't obviously aren't breaking the surface, we can't see, and also see where the barra are lying and where they're on the move and where they're going. So we'll have a closer look at that now. We're in spot lock now, and we're looking at our 360, and at the moment we're in full 360 view, where our range is out to 25 metres. You can see we've got a weed edge through here, and then these standing timber will always cast a shadow right through the screen. So they're standing trees that are coming out of the water. And then there's also some smaller stumps and things like that where the shadow might end just behind the mark of the stump itself. There's a few different view options we've got here. If we go to the top, we can concentrate just on the front. So if you're casting off the front of the boat, you can just concentrate on the front. If you're at the back of the boat and we're fishing off the back, and we do have a sounder on the back of the boat in this one, so we can do the same thing, just concentrate out the back of the boat. If we happen to be casting along this weed edge or something, we can just make use of that screen. If we go back to 360 mode, one of the other things we can do is just push the plus button, and that just zooms it in. So we miss a bit across the top and across the bottom, but we're still getting a really good view, and we can do that a second time. So that's another option as well. As far as settings go, the main things you're going to do, if we hit the menu button, is just play with our sensitivity and contrast. And what you want to do is you want the bottom to be fairly dull. So you can see as I turn the sensitivity up, it becomes too bright. So we want to back that off so that the bottom itself's fairly dull. That way trees and fish are going to stand out off that dull surface. And then we can go ahead and tweak contrast a little bit if we need to. So that's probably set about right. It's very close to factory settings that we're using here today. The other thing you can see in the menu system is 360 speed. Basically, the faster you go, the quicker it's going to update, but the less defined everything's going to be. And then the slower you go, the more detail it's going to have, but it's very slow in its updates. So normally about 4 is a good speed, a good combination between good detail, but also getting your fresh updates coming through. So you can see between these two trees, there's one barra just sitting there, and as this sweep comes around, we can see whether that fish has moved or not. So you can see that fish has moved on. So that's really the key, is to follow your lines, and if something appears, say between two snags, always sort of have reference for your where your structure is, and then you can pinpoint your cast so you know you're getting your lure exactly where it needs to be. There's another one that's just popped up over here. So as this sweep comes through, we'll be able to see whether that's on the move or it's sitting in that spot. So that's a basic overview of MEGA360. We've gone through the different settings, ranges, sensitivity, contrast. So when you get out there, just play around with it. Don't just sort of turn it on and forget about it. Just go through and tweak it, and you'll really find the perfect combination for what you're doing on that day.